Well, you saw one of the great ones last night, and the way that the 49ers defied those odds, I'm going to put it very, very simply, combined with the fact that this wasn't a one-off. We saw it in week 1 against the Seattle Seahawks. I thought we saw it even more against the worst team, against the Cardinals, in week 3. But this combined the Seahawks win and the Cardinals win in that they beat a top team in football while they were shorthanded. When you look at what San Francisco has done in this 4-1 start in terms of grit, you can say for sure they are Super Bowl contenders. You could say that John Lynch with confidence can buy ahead of the trade deadline. He could find a way to improve the pass rush, to bolster what this team needs bolstered, to give them a real puncher's chance heading into the stretch run of the season. It's still early. The 49ers are 4-1, but they have showed the type of resilience that escapes most teams in this league. Last year, the 49ers would have gotten blown out in this game. I mean, we saw it last year when the 49ers were this shorthanded. They got run out of buildings. This year, they're beating elite teams, even though they're shorthanded. Listen to the conversation, or listen to the recounting of the conversation between Mac Jones and Kyle Shanahan.
I don't really pay attention too much to it. I don't really do social media that much, but Kyle came up to me and he was pissed about it. So he's like, dude, I can't believe they moved us to underdogs again or whatever more. And I'm like, I don't know what that means really, but yeah, let's go kill him, So he was pissed about it. I was like, yeah, I'm pissed too. So went out there and we started hot, but we definitely need to be more consistent throughout the game and give more points for our defense so they don't have to keep making stops.
Oh, obviously, Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers noticed the fact that people weren't giving him much of a chance, myself included. This 49ers team has defied so many odds as this has gone along. Just listen to a couple of these things. The first one that really jumped out at me today, the 49ers are the first team since at least 1940 with no touchdown runs and no interceptions on defense through 5 games. No touchdown runs and no interceptions on defense through 5 games. Yet they're 4-1. They're one drop away from 5-0. I mean, I understand the Rams. I was eating at a taco truck last night here in LA, and there was a Rams fan lamenting the loss. Yes, Rams fans actually exist, allegedly. But he was lamenting the loss. He's like, heartbreaker, man. We're 2 field goals away from 5-0. I get that the Rams could be 2 field goals away from 5-0 because they've been playing up until this game. This was a no-show, but they'd been playing some top-tier offense and top-tier defense. The 49ers, meanwhile, have had their roster decimated. They don't have a single interception on defense. They don't have a single rushing touchdown. Yet they're one drop away from 5-0, and they beat the same Rams on the road. I mean, this is crazy stuff that we're seeing. The 49ers, twice this game came down to the Rams needing a yard. 1 yard. On a day that they picked up 460 yards offensively. But twice it came down to them needing 1 yard. Both times the 49ers said, no, you're not getting it. Alfred Collins punching the ball out from Kyren Williams. And then, I mean, the whole defense got the Rams on that play. The NFL's social media team posted this one. This is from the stop at the end of the game. You guys just hear how loud it was there at SoFi? And the press box is behind this glass window, and it was just pulsating. Like you could just feel the glass just shaking. The place has tremored a couple times. It's never when the Rams do something good. Like even when they won the NFC Championship game against the 49ers, that place didn't shake the way that it has when Ambry Thomas sealed the Week 18 game that same season, 2021, when Deebo Samuel threw a touchdown pass to Jawan Jennings that year in that same game when Jimmy Garoppolo hit Deebo Samuel and then Jawan Jennings to tie that game in Week 18. That moments like that is when SoFi Stadium is shook. And then last night, Alfred Collins with the punch out and the recovery, and then the goal line stand, not the goal line stand, the fourth down stand that you saw there. Those are the times that show that SoFi has shook. And I've been there for every single 49ers Rams game since the place opened in 2020. It is a home away from home for the 49ers. And my goodness, that was crazy last night. So, so much of the talk right now is about Mac Jones, as it should be. I mean, what a gutsy performance. And, I think the 49ers now have firm claim to the top quarterback room in the NFL. And that's what it's all about. You need to make a legitimate run at things. You absolutely need two of these guys. And the 49ers have two. Brock Purdy is currently hurt with the toe injury. The 49ers hope to get him back fully healthy as soon as possible. But to hold down the fort in the time being, the 49ers have someone who put on his best Jimmy Garoppolo impersonation last night, and that is a good thing. This is finally going to make people admit they're probably going to do mental gymnastics to get away from this, but this is finally going to get people to admit that Jimmy Garoppolo was a damn good quarterback for the 49ers, especially in some of these back up against the wall situations against the Rams. What you saw from Mac Jones last night with a low average depth of target. Look where all these throws, the green dots are. They're all well within the 20-yard mark. He was not pushing the ball deep downfield by design. This exactly to a T followed the formula that we said the 49ers would need to follow over the course of this game. The Rams had the powerful defense. They had a pass rush that could overwhelm the 49ers offensive line in pass obvious situations. The 49ers have not been able to open up the run game yet. They averaged only 2.2 yards per carry. So the Rams were pinning their ears back yesterday. What does that mean? It means the same thing that the 49ers faced in 2021 when they were out of running backs and they had to use Deebo Samuel. It means that they had to get the ball out quickly. So Mac Jones was getting the ball out quickly. 2.5 seconds from the time of snap to release. Jimmy Garoppolo back in 2021 against the Rams, and the 49ers faced a similar predicament. 2.3 seconds snap to release. Look, just take a look at some of the efficiency comparisons here. It's eerie to me because basically what happened here is the 49ers went back and they reenacted what they did against the Rams in 2021. And they did a little bit of this in 2020 as well. Those are some great Rams defenses with Aaron Donald. But this is last night. Mac Jones outplayed Matthew Stafford. Don't get me started on the media and Matthew Stafford right now. It is patently ridiculous. The guy is on the losing team. He makes some bad throws that directly contribute to the Rams' loss. And people are talking about Matthew Stafford as if he should be inducted into the Hall of Fame after that game. Like the media gives that guy pass after pass after pass. Meanwhile, I see 49ers quarterbacks win games and take insane criticism that isn't fair at all. Matthew Stafford can lose a game and not take any flack. And I'll go through some of the plays that Matthew Stafford lost the game on, including the penultimate play where he threw inaccurately to Kyren Williams and set up the Rams to have to go for that fourth down, which the 49ers stuffed. But anyway, EPA per play. Jones, more efficient than Purdy. Over more snaps, by the way. He had 49 dropbacks in this game yesterday. 56 dropbacks, but 49 passes for Mac Jones. Look at the average depth of target, though. So Stafford, this was a track meet for the Rams, and the 49ers did well to avoid getting involved in it for much of this game. They hogged the ball. Stafford is just sitting here airing it out. Mac Jones kept this short. The average depth of target, 6 yards. You saw that in the spray chart that we put up on the screen right here a little bit earlier. Mac Jones keeping this within generally within the 10-yard marker because that's how you get the ball out to avoid the Rams pass rush. QBR 74.1, higher than Matthew Stafford's. All right, so look at this. Now I'm going to rewind. Don't blink because this is going to change in front of your eyes. I'm going to rewind to 2021. Rams against the 49ers. Look at this, Jimmy Garoppolo. Like I could toggle back and forth. First look at the average depth of target for Mac Jones yesterday. Now I'm going to go to 2021. Look at that, Garoppolo 6.6. Was throwing short. Garoppolo was a little bit more efficient, but and the higher QBR, I thought that was just a masterful performance back in 2021. But the point is that it was the template. Like, it's so cool when you could go back into 49ers history, into Shanahan history. And, that's the common link here is Kyle Shanahan. You go back into history and you could see the 49ers taking the same principles and applying them now. There's a lot of really, really dumb commentary out there now saying, oh, Mac Jones, he's just doing the same thing as Brock Purdy. Look at him. You're not giving Mac Jones credit. You're not giving Kyle Shanahan credit if you're just saying that he's filled in for Brock Purdy and is doing the same thing. No, Purdy's been more efficient. Purdy gives the 49ers a higher ceiling. Purdy, when he's healthy, is the QB1. But for Mac Jones to come in as QB2 and execute with a skeleton crew, they were down their top 3 receivers and George Kittle, so you could say their top 4 receivers, right? For Mac Jones to be able to execute with that arsenal, what Jimmy Garoppolo was able to do in 2020, 2021, 2022 against the Rams, coming from the backup quarterback position, that to me, that's absurd. The fact that the 49ers were able to reenact what they did against the Rams and all those turnaround games before from the quarterback position, that is worth lauding all on its own. Brock Purdy's a separate conversation. Brock Purdy is the key to take this team to actual Super Bowl heights. Mac Jones was the key for the 49ers to win with what they had last night. Those are two very, very different things. And the 49ers are very fortunate to have both of these quarterbacks. You need 2 in this league, and this is demonstrating why you need 2 in this league. So, the discussions are going to be asinine. The discussions are going to be simplistic. The bottom line is the 49ers have a deep quarterback room. Mac Jones was tough as hell last night, and they might need him for another one because Brock Purdy was back in the Bay Area trying to give that toe as much recovery time as was possible. So, that's what we're dealing with right now. The 49ers are dealing with 2 really good quarterbacks who are playing 2 very different styles, and we could delve a little bit more into that in a bit, but boy, was that fun to watch. I'm going to step aside for a quick break.
You know that I do these 49ers updates on field. So you know that I do these 49ers updates on fields across the entire NFL, including the legendary Kezar Stadium, former home of the 49ers, right in the middle of San Francisco. And you know that I do these updates wearing my Cayman Tacovas. These aren't limited to outdoor use. I could also wear them while I'm covering a football game, up in the press box, walking down to the locker room, or heading to the field. Authentic Western style, timeless, premium quality. They're all handcrafted. I was able to buy these in Nashville at one of the great Tacova stores a few years ago. They hooked me up with a drink. They also will shine your boots while you're at the Tacova store. They really do treat you right. They have an expert staff, and they'll help you find the perfect fit. This will be one of the best shoe wear purchases that you'll ever make. So check out the link in the description or scan the QR code right here.
Tacovas, check them out. We got a new sponsor. Isn't that fun? Debut the Tacovas commercial on the day after the 49ers epic win over the Rams. If you could rewind and scan that QR code to go check out those Tacovas. I wore them to the game last night. Johnny Holland, the 49ers linebackers coach, he loves Texas-style boots, and he saw them after the game. He's like, "Oh, those are nice. Those the Tacova Caymans. They were really nice." So that was at Kezar. Kezar saw its share of 49ers LA Rams games back in the day. Obviously not as technologically advanced as a place like SoFi Stadium, but a classic stadium nonetheless. Anyway, back to what we saw in this game last night. We could talk about the quarterback position all week. I'm sure we talk about it all season because there's so much to break down there. It's hilarious though that now we have again in real time a side by side essentially of a Garoppolo style quarterback in Mac Jones. Somebody doesn't have quite the mobility, but can get rid of the ball very, very quickly, is very tough, right? And a Brock Purdy style quarterback who can move, who brings a new dimension to the 49ers offense with his motion capability in the backfield, the 10-yard burst. We talk about that, his elusiveness, and also Purdy obviously is very aggressive when it comes to pushing that ball downfield. So it's like the 49ers have these two complementary pieces at quarterback, and they have enough in common when it comes to executing Kyle Shanahan's system to where they can make the system work seamlessly from one to the other. It creates a lot of fascinating discussions. The ones that I won't stand for, though, are the ones that oversimplify things and say that they're the same guy, because they're not. I mean, it's just that unbelievably lazy football analysis is going to come out of all this. But I think that those who know what they're watching, and I think that everybody who's watching this show recognizes that you saw some football artistry there when it comes to how Kyle Shanahan was able to overcome what the 49ers lost, taking a schematic page out of prior years' playbooks. Like really, really cool callbacks for the 49ers in that game against the Rams. Right now, up on the San Francisco Standard, we've got this. This is the article from last night. I focused on the defense on the article last night. I think I could focus on the defense as we talk about this now. How the 49ers stuffed and stunned the Rams and seized control of the NFC West. Big picture first. The 49ers are 4-1. They have 3 times the NFC West wins that they did in 2024 in a third of the time. 3x in a third of the time, right? They've beat Seattle. They've beaten the Arizona Cardinals. Now they've beaten the Rams. Last year, they only beat the Seahawks at around this time. I think it was October 6th of 2024. They beat the Seahawks. That was the only 49ers NFC West win. So winning in the division is massive, especially when your division is as good as the NFC West is this year. So these games, you could always obviously tell that they carry a little bit more juice, because I would say a lot more juice, because they mean so much more. If you can win 5 games in your division, and the 49ers are already 60% of the way there, if you could go 5-1 in your division, you are almost guaranteed a good year, just based on the way that this is set up. So the 49ers have gone through the gauntlet now on the road, right? They've played the 2 best teams outside of them on the road in Seattle and the Rams, and they've won. They beat the Rams so severely shorthanded that very, very few people, myself included, did not give them much of a chance to win this game. And now they're going to get the Seahawks and the Rams at home later in the season. The Rams are in November, about a month from now, and Seattle is still about 2 months from now in Week 18. Theoretically, I'm going to knock on wood. I'm going to do whatever I need to, because I hate injuries in this game. But theoretically, the 49ers will be healthier when they have rematches with both of these two teams, and they're going to have that home field advantage, although one can argue that they already had it against the Rams at SoFi Stadium yesterday. Also, the rookies are growing up in front of our eyes. I mean, Alfred Collins yesterday, and I talk about this obviously in the article. You could see how excited Fred Warner is up there on the San Francisco Standard. But Alfred Collins, that was, I mean, if Kyren Williams didn't have a helmet on and that punch landed on Kyren Williams' face instead of the ball, Kyren Williams would probably be dead right now. Like, that's how powerful of a punch we saw from Alfred Collins. In the heat of the moment, real time, things are moving quickly. Kyren Williams is moving over toward that goal line. The swing from Alfred was I've never seen like a wind up at a punch that big and that quick in that moment, especially from somebody who's got such long limbs. I mean, this guy's related to Trent Brown, the former 49ers offensive lineman, who was the most massive player on any field that he set foot on. Alfred Collins, I mean, it runs in the family, obviously. The size 18 shoes, he's the most massive player on the field that he set foot on yesterday. For him to be able to react with that quickness at that size and deliver that power with that precision in that moment with what was at stake yesterday, yeah, he's coming along. Early in training camp, we were talking about, Alfred Collins, is looking a little slow off the ball. He needs to learn how to move his body, right? Yeah, size 18 feet, 330-pound frame, a good 6'6", 6'7", however tall he is. I think he's only listed at 6'5". I don't buy it. I think he's taller than that. Yeah, he's going to have to grow into this frame. He's going to have to learn how to control it against elite NFL athletes. And he took some unnecessary heat early on because I think a lot of people don't understand that the transition from college to the NFL, especially if you're dealing with a big body, is not an easy one. His snap count has increased week after week to the point where I think after Kalia Davis broke his hand, he's going to miss probably 2 games, at least 2 games. He's going to have to. He has having surgery today, and then they're going to put a club on it. They're going to try to get him out there sooner rather than later. But you're probably looking at Kalia Davis missing the Tampa Bay game and the Atlanta game, which are the next 2 for the 49ers. So as soon as Alfred got that opportunity yesterday, he started shining for the 49ers. It wasn't just the punch out from Kyren Williams. It was the 4th down play where timeout was called. The 49ers brought Alfred Collins into the game, and with that big body, lined him up right over the A gap and said, "You're not running a quarterback sneak." And you know what the Rams said? "We're not running a quarterback sneak." The Rams still tried to big boy the 49ers, as Fred Warner said. They still tried to run the football. They were all tensed up at the line of scrimmage, and that's how the 49ers knew the run was coming. So they fired the C gap instead of the A gap. This was not going to be anything right up the middle because they were avoiding Alfred Collins. But Alfred allowed the rest of the 49ers defenders to flow. Chase Lucas was the first one there, blasting people into the backfield with a much smaller frame than Alfred Collins. Marquise Siegel, you got to give him a lot of credit. Right? Marquise had a rough game. I get it. What did Robert Saleh tell us? What's been one of the primary themes of the entire buildup here? That there are going to be growing pains, right? That it's going to be high highs and low lows because the 49ers are playing so many youngsters on defense, and the extremes and the potential for them only increased when Nick Bosa went down. Because Matthew Stafford got to play 7-on-7 football for a lot of this game yesterday, right? So the rookies are exposed right now. They are going through some rough moments. I mean, Marquise Siegel in coverage, the Rams were picking on him. The past 2 opponents, I would say the past 3 opponents have all tried to capitalize on the fact that Marquise Siegel's only 5'11", and they try to put a taller receiver or tight end into his coverage. And yesterday we saw it with the tight end position and Terrence Ferguson against Siegel, 6'4", 6'5". It's not a really good matchup, but there was the big pass breakup that he had in the end zone later in the game. You could see that Marquise is fighting, figuring it out. It's tough when he's got to cover somebody. He goes from covering somebody at 6'5" to somebody who's extremely short but fast, and Tutu Atwell was really quick. And Matthew Stafford has the arm talent to obviously expose any angle deficiencies, and he did on a couple of those long completions yesterday. But Siegel was in there making the official tackle on that 4th down stop. After all the crap that he went through over that game, seeing the Rams rack up 460-plus yards of offense, a lot of those yards came against his coverage. Marquise Siegel was ready to man up. When the Rams were trying to big boy the 49ers, Marquise Siegel was ready to man up and be one of the 49ers, just throwing his head in there and making that heroic stop. Chase Lucas, Marquise Siegel, Alfred Collins on the inside. Fred Warner, Fred had one of the better quotes about this entire situation. First off, I walk in the locker room and Fred is just yelling about how the Rams were trying to big boy them and they weren't going to let that happen. I thought that was cool. I mean, this was one of the more meaningful plays of Fred Warner's career. But look at this quote right here. I didn't even know if my intention was to make a play. It was just to blow it up and make it muddy. So talk about team defense. He just wanted to go there and blow up the offensive line so his teammates could swarm in and deliver. Fred understands the dynamics of what's happening at the line of scrimmage, and I think that these rookies are picking that up from him. They understand the dynamics of a football game, especially one where you're shorthanded. Not everything's going to go your way. It is going to be a mercurial battle. There are going to be ups. There are going to be downs. But you need to show up at the highest leverage moments. You know, we talk about high leverage moments against Arizona, Upton Stout with the huge pass breakup, right? Downfield. Zay Jones was the receiver. That was on third down, gave the 49ers the ball back. You talk about high leverage moments against the Seattle Seahawks. Obviously, Jake Tonjes catching the touchdown pass from Brock Purdy was a massive one of those. You could talk about high leverage moments last night for sure. 2 times the Rams had to get a yard. 2 times the 49ers created a turnover because a fourth down stop is essentially a turnover, and that was the end of the game at the end of overtime. But Alfred Collins and Marquise Siegel and the rookies very, very involved in all of those moments. When you deliver at high leverage spots and you start to make a habit of it, that becomes your identity. The 49ers in 2024, their identity became not being able to get off the field on third down, not being able to close games, making critical errors on special teams at the worst times. The 49ers did those things enough to where they became baked in to who they were as a football team. Now the 49ers are doing the opposite in 2025. They're doing stuff right over and over and over again. Now it's 3 of these division wins, plus the Saints win, which also took them clutching up. They're doing this stuff at the regularity, at the interval level of this is becoming part of who they are. And because of that, John Lynch can look at this trade deadline now. It's coming up in about a month. And I think that he could have full confidence that the 49ers locker room has earned extra investment. And as a GM, I think that's all you need. That's all you need to start really thinking about making the moves that could be there to be made. I don't know what moves are going to be there. I can't guarantee that something truly splashy will be there, but the 49ers have been active on the trade market and essentially every year under Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. And let's be real. I mean, they were struggling to get to Matthew Stafford yesterday. One of the main reasons that Matthew Stafford threw for all the yards that he threw for last night was because the 49ers were letting him play 7-on-7 football. So a move, I think, for the 49ers to truly cement themselves and be ready to win playoff games because the intensity is only going to ratchet up. They're going to get guys back in all corners of the roster, theoretically. But the way that they can make sure that they're in true position to go for this is to bolster a defensive line that I think is going to need bolstering. Because, we could look at the injury situation right now. Make sure you check out the article, by the way, up on the Standard. It is there for you. Mike will link it in the description. Meanwhile, I'm going to get this open for everybody. So I shade the injuries in pink, right? Look at where the defensive line is right now. Kalia Davis, broken hand. Yetur Gross-Matos, that's a big one yesterday. He was already really nursing the knee situation. I don't know if the hamstring yesterday was related to that, but it very well could have been, right? So you see Yetur is probably going to be on the shelf for a little bit. CJ West is back now, so we could take him off of the injury shade. But this is one of those things where the 49ers are approaching paper thinness up front. Because it's Michael and then who? Because Michael, Brycehuff, and Sam Okawanu, those are all 3 very different types of players, right? Like the Yetur was versatile and is versatile enough, but he's probably not going to be available now with the hamstring for at least a little bit. He's versatile enough to give the 49ers a little bit of relief at both types of end positions and a tackle. But you don't have him. You don't have Bosa. The result that you expect to get was on the field last night. The 49ers defense was gassed for a lot of this game. The whole ball hogging thing, the strategy last night was keep the defense off the field. And, that's why I so vehemently disagreed with Kyle Shanahan not trying to end the game at the end of regulation, because it exposed the defense again. The 49ers, the Rams ran the ball 15 times yesterday, okay? Not a single one of those runs was a gain of less than 2 yards until the very last one. Like, the Rams had averaged 5 yards a carry on the game. 4th and 1 seemed like a given that they would convert, just given the fact that 15 runs before that had picked up at least 1 yard. But they ran into the brick wall that the 49ers built that last time. So my point is that it took the defense digging so deep at these high leverage moments to get this done, that if you're projecting forward for the 49ers, you can't count on, they've shocked us multiple times already. I get it. But as far as sustainability into the future goes, you can't count on these 1 in 16 plays. That was what the final run defense stop was. Or the Alfred Collins play, that was like a 1 in 100 play, if that. It could have been even longer odds, but you can't count on that happening on a down in, down out basis moving forward. That's why you have to find reinforcements for a defensive line and a team that is definitely beleaguered up front. But still, wow, they're socking money away into the bank with these wins. 3-0 in the division, 4-1 for San Francisco now. On the overall record, we saw the Mac Jones passing chart. We have looked at the comparisons between this and the 2021 season. I'm going to get that article up from the San Francisco Standard back on the screen. There you guys go. I've got a lot more, and I'll probably be able to answer some questions today as well. Speaking of the 49ers defense in short yardage. So they gave up the 5 yards per carry yesterday, right? So, and they were tired, and they weren't limiting the Rams in any of these short yardage situations into the last one. But entering this game, the 49ers did rank number 1 in percentage of runs stuffed for 1 yard or less. Number 2 in EPA per rush allowed on short yardage situations with less than 2 yards to go. Number 3 in success rate allowed in those situations. And number 3 in first down rate allowed. So even though the 49ers do not rank great overall as a run defense, when the money is on the table, they are stuffing opponents. And they did last night. And I guess that was my main point when I said that they couldn't stop the Rams on 15 runs for less than 2 yards, but on the last one they did. So there's something about this defense that I think it's a very intrinsic trait. I think it's something that is hard to just coach or find. You just have to find the right blend of guys, the right mentality. There's something about this defense that just is able to muscle up, gut up at the right time, and get the job done. It's a clutch. It really is a clutch kind of thing, because the splits for the 49ers in these short yardage running situations do not match the splits of the rest of the run defense. And you'd rather be good in the situations that the 49ers are good in, because you saw last night, like, if you could build a steel curtain right there at the goal line, or at a fourth down conversion line at the very biggest moments, the statistics of the rest of the game aren't going to matter, because the Rams will have run into a brick wall when it mattered most. Unbelievable. Let's take a look at some questions now. I'm ready for some good ones. Frank says the difference is that Robert Saleh is him. Saleh has made very, very impressive second half adjustments, down the stretch adjustments in every single game this year. Even the loss against Jacksonville. I mean, the 49ers were reeling in that game against Jacksonville, right? Absolutely reeling, and they found a way to give themselves a chance with all the defensive stops they made in the second half. Yesterday was a little bit different. I mean, the Rams were starting to really wear – it was Thursday night too. They were starting to wear the 49ers out. We knew that the Rams on paper were stronger than the 49ers, offense against defense. But Saleh, it was like a very targeted thing. He's like, if we can win certain downs, we can win the game. First half, he had a Jason Pinnock, D. Winters blitz that allowed Bryce Huff to spring free. Bryce Huff beat the left tackle on the play, and Bryce Huff got a sack. It's a second down play early on, early Rams drive. You know, you could say that wasn't as high leverage as anything in the fourth quarter. Technically, maybe not. But I think, in effect, I mean, they needed to get out to the lead in the game. They needed to control the early game flow so they could build up the play count, so they could wear the Rams down, and so they could have a cushion, too, because they knew that the Rams were going to go on a run at some point. So the 49ers needed to shock and awe the Rams into an early lead. Same thing that they did in 2021, 2022. They absolutely did that with this early blitz, a six-man blitz, too. Jason Pinnock was a really good blitzer for the New York Giants, that they're using him like that out of the safety position. And D. Winters got after the quarterback very effectively at TCU. They've been using him as a blitzer a lot this year. That early blitz from Robert Saleh helped build the cushion that the 49ers would rely on later in the football game. Then let's not forget about the blocked extra point from Jordan Elliott later in the game. Let's not forget about Eddie Pinheiro from 59 yards out. I mean, you could say that the difference is Robert Saleh, that he's one of the differences. 49ers had difference makers everywhere. I haven't even talked about Kendrick Bourne on this show yet. 10 for 142, overcoming the drops from last week, overcoming a drop from the first half today. Big one on third down. Kendrick, I mean, that was the game of Kendrick's life. His previous high was 100 receiving yards in a game. 142. Best that Kendrick Bourne has ever played. And it came on the heels of that miserable game Sunday against Jacksonville. That game was a confluence of the grit the rookie defense has. Yeah, and the veterans. I mean, Fred is the leader, right? I'm in that locker room, and Fred, the ringleader, fired up, still in his pads like an hour after the game, talking to everybody. Like, all the rookies want to listen to Fred. Nick Bosa is going to be back soon. I'm sure he's down in this LA area right now after the surgery he underwent. So he's doing his initial rehab. He'll be back in the building. He'll be helping mentor guys. He's one of the veteran pillars. I think Deommodore Lenoir, he made a couple plays yesterday. Some of the coverage in tense moments where the game could have ended on a touchdown. Lenoir on Devontae Adams, good plays. I mean, he's very important. I think actually Jason Pinnock, low key, he's a sturdy vet voice for the 49ers in that defensive backfield as well. Don't discount what Jason Pinnock has been able to bring this team. The Rams kicker, Josh O'Carty, was terrible. The irony, yes, you are correct. The Rams actually came into that game with a lower-ranked special teams unit than the 49ers, and I thought that we actually did see that play out. Do I have any stats about how effective San Francisco is at creating pressure when rushing six or more defenders? I can get those for you. I don't have them off the top of my head. I think it's a really, really good question. I think that, you know, they blitzed ineffectively last night too. Let's be 100% honest. The Kyron Williams touchdown, the first score for the Rams, that came off of a blitz. Like, they just burned a blitz. You only have a certain amount of bullets when it comes to blitzing a veteran quarterback, right? You have to pick and choose your spots. I think that Robert Saleh has generally done a really good job of that this year, but he's also been beaten on the blitz, and you're going to get beaten on the blitz. So it's not always going to be roses. And that's why it's so nice to have a Nick Bosa. And that's why the 49ers are probably going to have to make a move for a pass rusher, because you've got to get pressure with 4. 49ers aren't getting enough pressure with 4. Warren Sharp pointed out this is one of the lowest rates again in over the season. Let's go to Warren Sharp's Twitter here. He's got a good little treasure trove of stats. He does a good job with some of the analytics stuff. I thought that I had bookmarked the tweet, but I couldn't find it. Stafford was pressured on just 21% of his dropbacks last night. Second lowest pressure rate since the start of 2024. So, and the 49ers didn't get a lot of pressure last night on Sunday night or Sunday against Trevor Lawrence. And that was more of a quick release game plan for Trevor. Stafford was pushing the ball further downfield, but he had time to do it. And the 49ers had a blitz to neutralize some of that, but then he burned the blitz, and Stafford threw for nearly 400 yards. There was productivity there. Now, I will say, and this does upset me because, and I mentioned this at the top of the show, everybody seems to glorify Matthew Stafford. Well, sorry that this is a little dark, but it's going to get the point across. We'll get this bigger up on the screen. This is the penultimate play. The first down line to gain is at the 10. You could see the yellow there. That is Matthew Stafford's throw to Kyren Williams, the running back. As you could tell, it's not a long throw. If this throw hits Kyren Williams in the chest, hits him in stride, he picks up that first down, he might even score. Probably not on the touchdown, but he's definitely picking up the first down, and the Rams aren't facing 4th and 1. So, everybody oohs and ahs over Stafford throwing deep to Tutu Atwell, but he missed on a number of shorter throws yesterday, like this one, where he brought Kyren Williams down onto his knees into a slide 1.5 yards short of the first down. So Matthew Stafford's poor throw on 3rd down directly set up the Rams getting stuffed on 4th down. And you could fairly say contributed to them in a big way losing this football game. I mean, that's the tape. It's right in front of you. Those are the throws that Mac made last night. I mean, the short game, this is the problem the 49ers had with Trey Lance, is he wasn't executing the short game. Mac, I mean, he executed the hell out of the short game. This was Garoppolo-esque. The best of Jimmy, who happened to be on the sideline last night for the Rams, is what Mac was able to channel last night with a skeleton crew offensively around him. And then, I mean, we could talk about Kyle Shanahan and the fact that he was able to create something out of nothing for the 49ers. They obviously didn't have the separation capability that they'll have when they have guys like Ricky Pearsall and Jawan Jennings and ultimately Brandon Ayuk on the field. They obviously didn't have the run game at 2.2 yards per carry. I mean, Shanahan said it looked like a brick wall when he was talking about the 4th down stop, but he said it looked like the brick walls that we were running into as an offense. They weren't able to move it against this Rams front. So they had to find different ways to loosen up the Rams defense. And the primary way was the way that we said that they were going to have to employ, and that was pitch and catch football, the short game. Good timing from Mac Jones. Good spacing from Kyle Shanahan. Whatever separation the receiving targets could get. I mean, it wasn't just Kendrick Bourne, 10 for 142. It was Jake Tonjes made a lot of big catches. Kyle Juszczyk is involved. Christian McCaffrey forced 12 missed tackles. It was the most of his career. So I hope that I can stop hearing about how Christian McCaffrey has slowed down, because he is still playing the very, very best football of his career. Question: return prognosis for Pearsall, Jennings, Watkins, Barch, Davis, and Mustafa. Well, Barch IR in week 2, so he's got to miss, I think, still the the Bucks game, but then he can come back for the Falcons game. That's a really big one. I think Pearsall and Jennings might be back as soon as next week when the 49ers play Tampa Bay. Kalia Davis broke his hand. He's going to be out for at least 2 games. And Malik Mustafa's practice window should open as soon as the 49ers finish the game against the Bucks. They said after week 6. So reinforcements should be coming, and we'll see if the 49ers got through this game without any further injuries beyond Kalia Davis, Yetur Gross-Matos, and the ankle for Upton Stout. Catching the ball the whole game except for one drop was a huge difference from last week. Yes, credit to Kendrick Bourne for the bounce back. Who's out when Mustafa is back? If it were today, I would think Marquise Siegel is bumped out because Jason Pinnock is your veteran safety. There's a higher floor there. So I would think that Mustafa will take Siegel's spot. But, you know, that's the thing. You could try to project this kind of stuff. And I don't know if it's particularly wise to, because guys are going to get hurt. I mean, just the way that it is, you know, to me, it's actually extremely foolish to assume that everything is going to stay static for the 49ers injury-wise, because it's been the opposite of that for however long football's existed, especially for this team, which has gone through so much injury-wise. All right, this right here, Christian McCaffrey is playing great, but Christian McCaffrey is playing great as a running back. Are you seriously citing his yards per carry without mentioning that the 49ers are having trouble blocking these plays without George Kittle? Like, it's not just Christian McCaffrey running. Like, it's a team sport. The fact that Christian is doing what he's doing in the receiving game and is as nimble and fast and powerful as he is with the ball in his hands in the receiving game shows you that it's not his fault that he's not averaging a lot in the run game. Like, let's try to put 2 and 2 together here. You know, it's everybody always tries to isolate this as a one-man thing in any part of football. They try to isolate it on the quarterback. They're trying to isolate this on Christian McCaffrey. It's like, he needs support from the blocking crew, and George Kittle being out is really, really dampening things for the 49ers right now. I think that's very, very obvious. Once they start to get some personnel back, there's going to be more running room because they're going to be able to keep defenses further off balance. As Mark says, he thinks the Kittle's the player the 49ers need back the most. Kind of hard to juke when you're wrapped up a yard behind the line of scrimmage. Yeah, he doesn't have any room to get going. McCaffrey, in many ways, yes, is carrying the offense. Kind of like Eddie Pinheiro carrying that field goal unit. 59 yards. Now, Eddie, maybe I'll have some news here for you on the show. Let's look it up. Has he passed Justin Tucker yet on all-time field goal percentage list? I don't think so, but I'm going to look. Oh, boy. It's close. It's close. You guys want to see? You guys want to see? All right. Here's Tucker. Here's Pinheiro. After last night, Eddie Pinheiro is at 89.051%. Justin Tucker is not playing at the moment. Justin Tucker is at 89.103%. So, I mean, if you round up from 89.05% to 89.1%, they're tied, but Tucker's got a slight lead. Pinheiro is 11 of 11 on field goals ever since joining the 49ers. If he keeps on making them, he will pass Justin Tucker for number 2 on the all-time list. They can't miss. That's the problem. And what I really love about Eddie, a lot of kickers would be like way superstitious about this kind of stuff. Eddie literally like asks me in the locker room where he's at on the list. He wants to know. It's like, yes, he doesn't believe in jinxing himself or doesn't believe in any. He just wants to go out there and make the kick. He wants to, hell yeah, he wants to pass Justin Tucker. Maybe even one day if Cameron Dicker misses a few kicks, he'll have a chance for the top spot all time. It's tough, though, because Dicker's at 94.2%. But since when have you heard of a kicker who literally is seeking out, like, publicly the numbers? Like, here I am covering the team. He wants to know the numbers because he wants to be at the top of the list. Like, normally it doesn't happen. Normally the kickers are kind of, they're more recluse status. They're not going to be out and about. But Eddie Pinheiro is here talking crap to the other team because they're a division rival. It's what he did when he beat the Cardinals. He was out on the field for a really long time yesterday. Kyle Shanahan was joking about that. Took him a while to come back into the locker room, the 49ers. Kyle said maybe he was talking some more crap yesterday to the Rams. He's nailing 59-yard field goals, which are purportedly out of his range. I guess not. I guess that was in Eddie's range yesterday. 4 of 4. Hadn't missed a field goal yet for the 49ers. Ironically, he missed his first extra point in that Saints game. People were like, oh, here we go again. But he's been nails, absolute nails since that moment. This kind of shows that you're never going to make everybody happy. I like your show, but you weren't positive, David. A lot of times people say I'm too positive. So which is it? Am I too positive? Am I not positive enough? Usually when you get feedback on both sides, it means that you're right where you want to be in the middle, but just kind of funny. Yeah, that 59-yarder, that might have been good for, I think it was cleared by a lot. Plenty to spare. And then the overtime one, it nicked the upright. Ooh, that was scary. That was scary. I mean, this game, I watched the replay this morning, and I noticed so much on that replay. Just when it comes to the margins in the NFL, the Rams, they don't have great receiving backs coming out of the backfield. They're just not. Stafford doesn't throw well to receiving backs either. You saw with the Kyron Williams play where he was short of the first down, but Kyron dropped a couple. Blake Corum dropped the pass. Corum dropped the pitch in this game. Should really appreciate, even if Christian McCaffrey's not gaining a lot of yards as far as just the pure ground game goes, should appreciate the fact that Christian McCaffrey generally is not making the types of mistakes that the Rams running backs were making yesterday. And that ended up being a difference in this game. Somebody asked about Ben Bartch a little bit earlier. I think that's a player the 49ers can really, really use back. There was a lot of talk about Connor Colby potentially Wally Pipping Ben Bartch. That's definitely not happening right now. I think Colby will be a fine player for the 49ers down the road, but we just didn't expect him to be thrust into this soon. And there have been a lot of pass protection issues. I think that the 49ers, too, they're geared for a certain type of run game. The one that they're not geared toward is get 2 yards at the goal line. I think Jake Brendel is a more athletic center. He's a little bit lighter. It seemed that he was struggling to not get blown back on, that one goal line stand from the Rams. Should have been roughing the passer, but 49ers just couldn't get that yard. They had to kick the field goal after Mack went down in the crumpled heap. I mean, this game was so hard fought. And now the 49ers can look forward to Tampa Bay with a little extra rest. Tampa Bay's got to play Seattle this weekend. And they're beaten up, Tampa Bay is. So we're going to get to see Seattle and then the 49ers, like two common NFC West teams, play against the Buccaneers. We'll see how healthy the Bucs are, but we do know the 49ers are more rest coming into this Tampa Bay game than the Bucs do, who are going to be tested by Seattle. It's going to be a grinded out game against the Seattle Seahawks for Tampa. So the 49ers have a big scheduling advantage coming into this next game. Colby needs more seasoning. There's no substitute for experience, especially at offensive line, especially up front. The game is in Tampa, yes. What a battle we got to see between Trent Williams and Jared Verse. Yeah, and Trent Williams hadn't really slowed down. Trent is battling his ass off, and he's having to play some left guard too because there are issues with Colby at left guard. I really wish people would consider the bigger picture when they're trying to make these sweeping judgments on Trent Williams. I mean, the 49ers were an absolute dogfight. That is a bear of a front that the Rams bring to the table. And the 49ers were able to stave them off enough to execute the game plan that we talked about. This is it. It was the Jimmy Garoppolo game plan from 2021, 2020 against the Rams. They've gotten wins. Short throws, accurate throws, avoid sacks, avoid interceptions, keep the line moving. That was the 49ers' only path to victory. They had to take the air out of this game yesterday, and take the air out of the game. They did enough of it. They blinked a couple times, but then the defense forced the Rams to blink a couple times, and they won that turnover battle, right? If you count the fourth down stop as a turnover, they're +3 in turnover differential. So greasy win. That's what we said the 49ers would have to strive for. That is what they got against the Rams. Mac undefeated this year. You were correct about that. You do need 2 quarterbacks to compete. 49ers have those 2 QBs. Best room in the league. It's either Stafford and Garoppolo in LA, or it's Mac and Brock Purdy in San Francisco. And I cannot emphasize enough how much I agree with this take. Kyle dialed in a perfect game plan for Mac's strengths. Kyle was in his bag last night. Now, there were a couple times that he blinked, and I was critical. I thought it was fair, and I'm being fair to Kyle right now because we have to acknowledge how damn good he was. He outcoached McVay, that's for sure. He set Mac Jones up, and the offense, even so shorthanded, he set them up for true success. And he recognized that the 49ers needed to keep balance, even though that run game obviously was having a hard time against the Rams' run defense. But he didn't go overboard with the push for balance. He didn't run into too many brick walls. We've seen that happen before for Kyle Shanahan. We've seen him get too pass happy before. We've seen some extremes. Yesterday, it was a lot of throws for Mac Jones. Don't get me wrong, 49 throws, but he was able to scheme a pass game that was essentially an extension of the run game, and it was able to mitigate the Rams' pass rush enough to set the 49ers up for true success. I mean, there you go. 33 of 49, 342 yards for Mac Jones, and the 49ers put up 26 points, beat the Rams 26-23. Kyle, I thought that he should have gone for the kill shot. They're in overtime. He was afraid of a holding penalty in the end zone of a safety. I think that you could run a safer pass play that doesn't really risk holding and those kind of negative outcomes as much as Kyle said that it would. And I think the Rams might not have even been bracing for it, and I think it could have ended the game right there. That's what I would recommend to Kyle Shanahan. But he wasn't perfect, right? He wasn't perfect, but he was damn good. And Kyle Shanahan deserves all the flowers that should be coming his way here over the course of. Oh, look, we got the 49ers victory speech. We're going to play this from the locker room to finish the show. Here we go. If I could download it, gotta save it to down. Here we go.
All the way to the D Eddie, who stopped that dude on the goal line?
All of us! Alfred, call it!
Hey, Alfred got the strip, right? D-line, man. Alfred, you making that strip? Alfred, come on,
Hey, bro. I know y'all boys. Backs against the wall, bro. Hey, we gonna fight. You feel me?
Yeah, Eddie, 4 for 4, hit a 59-yarder.
Go up every time, bro. That's why football is the greatest team sport. You guys have my back. I appreciate it, man.
IGYB.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Here we go. Family on 3. 1, 2, 3.
IGYB, I got your back. Shared to the 49ers by Steve Young. I think Roger Craig imparted that message on him way, way, way back in the day. And Max said it the best. This is why football is a great game. It's a team sport. Team sport. We can't just parse this through an individual lens. Oh, Christian McCaffrey's not running for enough yards per carry. Everybody is part of collective success and failure. And so far this year, the 49ers have succeeded so many more times than they failed at the high leverage spots where they lost last year. They are winning this year because of mentality, because of talent, because that mix, that the gelling of what they brought together, the youth infusion of the defense. They've gotten that extra little bit of energy, that extra magic that teams, some franchises have never had the right combination of it, right? That's why they never won a Super Bowl. You need that collection of ingredients to reach the promised land in this league. You also need more health. Right now, the 49ers aren't healthy enough to win a Super Bowl. Like, if they had to go on a playoff run right now, it probably would end sooner than people would like it to end. But that doesn't mean that they can't get healthier as this year rolls on and get into a better position to actually deliver a quality playoff run. And the hard part is finding the ingredients of grit and resilience that the 49ers have already shown and definitely did show last night. Go check out the San Francisco Standard article. This is written from the locker room itself. You can rewind if you want your Tacovas boots as well. Thank you to them. They're the sponsor of this show. If you want to see the Standard and the article, it is up right here. Link is in the description. I'm going to pin it at the top of the comment section. Everybody, thanks for watching. There's going to be much more for you. I'm still in LA. I'll have much more for you over the course of today.